Grid.
In-game live, we keep this party rocking with the one and only Coach James Young. JY joins the program. Coach, it is great to see you, sir. How we living?
Hey, listen, it's Friday of the NCAA tournament. I'm still trying to recover from that Kentucky game, which was still the wildest. I mean, you thought we saw it, Kevin, in that Dayton St. Louis game, right? In which they went back and forth. I think this completely outdid it. It was just wild, and this is what you get when it's March. You know, I had a good talk with my good friend Mark Campbell about the tournament a couple of days ago, and his remark is like, "Listen, they say his phrase, win the 40." So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about seed lines and point spreads. You got to be better than your opponent for 40 minutes, or in some cases, it may be 45 minutes in the case of the game that went to overtime.
Baron Philon, 25-point watch heats up. He's at 22. JY, you're just getting in the mix here, my friend. So I will let you know LeBaron Philon getting to 25 is what really matters here.
No, well, you know what? I'm with you a little bit, K-Dub. I took Alabama team total over 85.5, and I was sweating bullets when they were down 10 in the first half. But they're so explosive offensively that they can flip it in a minute. They weren't making shots from three early on, and let Speedy Claxton's team kind of get into what they wanted to do. But this is what you get out of Alabama, is the fact that at any point they can literally go on a run. Obviously, without Aiden Holloway, LeBaron Philon is just going to have to carry the torch. So maybe I should have played that one, because without Aiden Holloway, he's going to have the ball in his hands so much more.
Yeah, the Philon was a live play from the team here. DK had a nice little special up that we are kind of hoping to cash in on. But, Coach, I love what you said, man, about Santa Clara and Kentucky. What a fun game. Otega Oweh, man, he has put together one of the best 2-year runs that Kentucky basketball has seen in a decade and a half. Now, that's cheating a little bit, because there's a lot of guys that have come to Kentucky and not actually given you 2 years, right? It's kind of him and the Harrison twins, and I don't know, PJ Washington, I think, did 2 years. Did Big Julius stick around for 2 years? I don't think so. The point is, Otega Oweh, if Mark Pope is really able to steady the ship, find his footing, and actually be the head coach of this program like he hopes for a decade and a half, who knows, 20, whatever it is, right? He'll have to always remember what Otega Oweh's done for him. He had incredible moments in his first year, and a 35-8-7 in the opening round. First guy to put up numbers like that since Larry Bird. Are you nuts? I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? I mean, you start throwing Larry Bird college numbers around, now you're in a different stratosphere. And that shot, JY, absolutely changed the game there. I can't wait to get your thoughts on some of what we've already seen. But, Coach, we have one team in action right now that you're super, super familiar with. Villanova, Utah State. You're very familiar with this Nova group here. Trailed by 9 early, but they've battled back, Coach, here in what's been a pretty high-scoring affair early on as well. What did you expect from the Wildcats today?
I was expecting this game to go back and forth. Utah State is obviously very, very well coached. And, and kind of talking to some of the Nova people, there's a little bit concerned about this team coming into the tournament. I don't think there's so many injuries that are big injuries, right, Kevin, that are star players, whether it's, Toppin or Foster or Richie Saunders and how that changes BYU. One of the ones that's really under the radar is the loss of Matt Hodge. Matt Hodge was a top 100 recruit, played for my good friend Brian Lynch down here at St. Rose High School locally, where we're both down by this area. And Matt Hodge really started to step up as that stretch four and kind of allowed them to play with Duke Brennan inside out a little bit. And they've kind of missed that. So it's kind of been on Perkins and Lindsay and Lewis and kind of try and play, honestly, Kev, a little bit of one-on-one basketball and say that, in Villanova's case, our guards are better than yours. So we can create off the bounce better than you can. Whereas Utah State will have to do it schematically, right, Kevin, and what they run. But a Villanova team that, my only concern with this is they don't want to play games, Kev, in the 90s. That's just not their DNA, right? They want to play games in the 60s, maybe 70s. So the only concern is do they have enough scoring to last if this game continues to play this high octane tempo, or do they need to slow it down and get it more into half court?
Yeah, it's a great breakdown, Coach. I'll say for myself, you always talk about, styles, fights. I figured, hey, Utah State's going to be able to score inside, and Villanova's going to make their threes, or at least have a chance. And that's the story of this game. Villanova's made 3 twos. They made 7 threes. Utah State's made 11 twos. They made 1 3. That's your basketball game, right? 3's greater than 2. That's the story that we are seeing right now, as I'm like holding my breath during every LeBaron Philon possession here. Just missed himself a layup. Yeah, Jay, I'll give you more details during the break, brother. But that's our guy, man.
He is our guy. That guy can get buckets all day long. But it's interesting because when I talked to Coach Campbell, and shout out to Coach Campbell, we're talking to women's side, but Olivia Miles, first player in NCAA tournament history, men's or women's, to have a triple double for 2 different teams. I tried to ask him about offense now in college basketball. And he's interesting. He says it's the NBA model, right? You got to have a really good point guard. You got to use ball screens, and you got to space the floor and knock down threes. This is the game that we're at now, Kevin. I know people, the old traditional basketball purists, and they like it, but this is the way it is. Shoot the ball from 3, defend the 3, win the 3-point game. You always give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, Jay, I love the way you said Philon for 24, brother. I love that. It was a great breakdown. Hey, look at this guy go. Look at this guy go, JY. JY loves it, man. JY loves it, man, and I love it as well. Tennessee right now starting to extend on Miami of Ohio. Nate Ament not here for the party. It's the Gillespie show. I've been involved on this show more times than I've asked for, which is annoying but fine. It happens. The thing that I don't want to do it now because I really am excited to get Coach's insight on Iowa State, Tennessee State. Because, guys, for anyone who's maybe just joined in the program here, Iowa State comes out, it's super early, and Josh Jefferson, big old Josh, lays it at the 10 and is carried off the floor. Mm-hmm. He is their best player on this team. And in that moment, we thought, is this going to be a problem here? Get it to the 10. Now we're going to have to count your pennies, brother. We need to count your pennies. That's going to be...
So people, if you don't understand what's going on, that must be LeBaron Philon must score and must be at 25 or 24. So if you see these guys, and I got guys yelling in my ear, this is what you get with JY and K-Dub. The only difference is I'm about 3 hours late to the party, but I'm here. I'm here all for it.
You know what's funny? You know what? You know what's funny? And again, he knows this is true. So the only difference is JY is keeping his cool because he came in because he otherwise would have had the bet. He would have had probably more on it than me, and he would have just walked off the set. Let's go, LeBaron! We'll be right back.
9+ sounds pretty good here, Donnie, at around even money, right? I got no problem there, trading at 54 cents. And again, all the pressure is on the higher seeds and the favorites, right? Start getting into that 4 or 5 minute mark in the second half, and you're down double digits. Some teams, it does not get better, Donnie. They don't pull themselves up off the court.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You know, you don't usually get Alabama basketball booked at less than 160. You're getting that now here. The real question is Aiden Holloway done for the tournament for an Alabama team who, you know, we've seen under Nate Oates, they're more than capable of getting themselves to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and maybe even beyond that.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I don't like to overthink it, Kevin. I really don't. And similar situation, I feel the same way when it comes to betting. I find like that Sunday night, so, you know, you're watching the NFL games, and all of us do it. Like, all right, let's look to next week now. You know what I mean? That Sunday, like, you know, the dust is settled on the games. They just end. It's all until, like, let's look at next week. My first reaction is always the best reaction.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
NBA Central sent out a tweet yesterday. Hornets announcer Eric Collins says Jalen Duren is one of his favorite players to watch. Quote, I like talking about that body of his cut up like coleslaw, end quote. Interesting.
Yeah. Not quite sure what the reference to coleslaw is. No idea, Donnie. I have no idea.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, in-game live back there right here on SportsGrid. I will calm down. Though I will say, part of me is like, you know what, Kev? Just be selfish. You're hanging out with Coach. Ask him about Luka for 60 and LeBron triple-double. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, man. Hopefully you guys over here at halftime, we talked about the Phylon 10-1 for 25 over on DK. We clipped a really good number there, man, and I'm happy. And hopefully some of you guys in the back on the mix as well. But Coach, I do really want your perspective on not just what you expected from Iowa State today, JY, but how does a team lose their best player? Let's be clear. I get it's a 15 seed. It's a tournament. It's win or go home. It's your biggest game of the season. You lose your best player 2 minutes in. Iowa State's having one of their best performances of the season. I think it's incredibly impressive what this team is putting forward right here, right now, JY. What do you make of the game they're showing us, but also the potential that this Jefferson injury is more than a one-day thing?
Well, listen, you got to be concerned about Jefferson, and they were, Kevin, they were already off to a pretty good start versus Tennessee State when Jefferson went down. I think there were maybe 6 or 7 points pretty early on when he got hurt. So the immediate reaction is, what do you get out of your team from there, right? Do they start to freak out, or do they play lights out? And Kevin, I mean, let's be honest. You go through the numbers, and there's a lot of stuff that you like as a coach, right? 24-11 assist to turnover ratio. You love to see it. 52% from the three-point line. Lord have mercy, that does not happen. 24 assists on 35 field goals, which means there's a share and a distribution of the basketball. You know, you out rebound the team. I think it's 40 to 26, right? So you literally do everything to dominate the game. And you get your guys out of there. You know, no one played. I mean, a couple of guys played. Torrey played played 30 minutes. Milan played 34, but no one else really played a ton of minutes. So you now move on to that next matchup, and it's going to be a really, really good one, right? I think I said this, not to switch subjects, but about Kentucky. I said it's going to be one of two things. Either they're losing in the first round, or they're about to go on a run. This matchup is going to be something that we were thinking about, Kevin, let's be honest. Elite Eight, maybe a Final Four matchup before the season. And we get this on Sunday. I mean, Kevin, you and I may have to pull up at a bar, and we may have to hijack SportsGrid and just jump on the air and go in-game live during that game, because that's going to be a great game between those two teams.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, JY. No doubt about it, man. No doubt. So, Coach, let's go here now. Tennessee, Miami of Ohio, man. This is a treat, JY. I'm glad we got the chance to do this today, man. We got Gabe stepping up at 6 o'clock. Coach and I will be live tomorrow morning. Full recap of round one, previewing Saturday games as well on college basketball today, which will be fantastic. But, Coach, Miami of Ohio, before we get to this game right here, okay, because we'll have halftime betting opportunities, I'm sure. What did you make of their performance against SMU and maybe what they proved in that result, Coach?
Let's go to the other side.
Okay.
Has there been a coach that was so big, like Andy Enfield with Dunk City, who has gone to two high-powered programs and has had with a little bit of run of USC, have really not done much? And if you really dig into it and look at SMU, I did like Miami, Ohio plus the points, sprinkle on the money line, because SMU sucks away from home. I mean, you go look at it, and they've had some great wins and performances at home. I think they beat Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, by like double digits at home. They had some good home results. They don't play well on the road. So to me, that's the key thing. 1, 2, the NCAA caught a major break. And I really believe this, and people may hate me what I'm about to say. They caught a break because Miami, Ohio, they could not give them, they needed them in Dayton. That was a great environment. The crowd was into it. It was literally, Kevin, them losing in the semifinals was the perfect storm that the NCAA needed for that tournament, because it gave it a jolt right away with that performance. Yeah. They played well. They shot the ball from 3. My concern is when they get against a team, rugged, big, can defend, can rebound, that's when you're like, that's the matchup that's going to be a problem. And I came into this tournament saying that both the 6 and 7, Tennessee and Kentucky, have guys and coaches on their card that could say to you, they could go on a run. And right now, Tennessee looks really, really good today.
Yeah, we're talking brackets now, right? But I put them in to not just win this game, but knock off Virginia. But I actually thought Miami of Ohio could hang in this game. I thought there was a path. I think what we're seeing, though, to me, the story of this is not, Miami of Ohio can't get stopped, can't score. It's getting stops against a team like Tennessee right now. And I think I am asking people to allow me to say this without feeling like I am trying to discredit Miami of Ohio. I am not. But Coach, SMU probably didn't belong in the field. Miami of Ohio did. Yes. I actually thought, JY, Bruce Pearl was very wise in what he did in that selection show. When they said, hey, Bruce, what are your thoughts? And he goes, look, Miami of Ohio belongs here. What a season. I got to say, SMU, those metrics don't stand up. And we have seen this committee, we talked about it with Donnie already, JY, be very kind to an ACC with reasons I don't understand. Nobody thinks the ACC is this good. Why am I seeing so much kindness to that conference?
The ACC is good because of one team, Duke. That's basically it.
And they got the number. Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, we'll keep breaking down your action right here. It's in game live.
9+
Yeah.
sounds pretty good here, Donnie, at around even money, right? I got no problem there, trading at 54 cents. And again, all the pressure is on the higher seeds and the favorites, right? Start getting into that 4 or 5 minute mark in the second half, and you're down double digits. Some teams, it does not get better, Donnie. They don't pull themselves up off the court.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
You know, you don't usually get Alabama basketball booked at less than 160. You're getting that now here. The real question is Aiden Holloway done for the tournament for an Alabama team who, you know, we've seen under Nate Oates, they're more than capable of getting themselves to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and maybe even beyond that.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't like to overthink it, Kevin. I really don't. And similar situation, I feel the same way when it comes to betting. I find like that Sunday night, so, you know, you're watching the NFL games, and all of us do it. Like, all right, let's look to next week now. You know what I mean? That Sunday, like, you know, the dust is settled on the game. They just end. So I'm like, let's look at next week. My first reaction is always the best reaction.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
NBA Central sent out a tweet yesterday. Hornets announcer Eric Collins says Jalen Duren is one of his favorite players to watch. Quote, I like talking about that body of his, cut up like coleslaw, end quote. Interesting.
Yeah, not quite sure what the reference to coleslaw is. No idea, Donnie. I have no idea.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, in-game live. All right, in-game live. We're back like we never left, is what I'm hearing here. We never left, and Nate and Matt never showed up. He's got 0 points. Soon to be at the break here. Look, obviously it's not a good bet out of me, but I expected better out of him, and I think he would, tell you he expects better out of himself. Now, that's not the story. They're up a ton, but it's supposed to be an NBA guy. And I would expect better. What are you rooting in here, Coach? What are you rooting in here?
I am rooting in Alabama team total over 85.5, which I thought I was dead in the water. They just banged a 3. They have 85 with 124 left to go. So I need 1 point, just 1 point. By the way, Kevin,
okay.
I know. Try to jump around here. You and I was listening to you and Donnie in the green room before he came on, and you guys were talking about the Queens College Purdue game. You like Queens plus a point. Donnie thinks they score a ton. They may score 1,000. I actually took up, and Alabama just went up and over their team total over. I took Purdue team total in the first half. I did this yesterday with Arkansas because, Kevin, there's some books are giving you first half team totals. And my concern as a coach is when you play in 48 hours, how much are you playing your guys in the second half if you blow them out? And then I jumped on that early, and I took Purdue team total over in the first half because you look at the metrics with a team like Queens. We and I look at KenPom a lot. People, if you don't lose KenPom, you are losing your mind because that is the way you can go apples to apples. Really, especially like in league when you want to take out league stuff. But even during the year, you go look, you see Purdue top 20 in offensive efficiency in most categories, and Queens bottom 100, but they shoot the 3. So there's a way that Kevin can get up and over and cover the spread, and Purdue just try and run this game out and score every possession. There are pathways, and Kevin and I do this a lot when we do college basketball today. Well, we don't talk to each other about it, but we're in like different sides, but we're in a weird way, like kind of thinking the same on how we bet.
Yeah, this is it's just a game that I'm really excited for, and I think should have a ton of points here. Feel for Hofstra bettors because they really did hang around all game. only a 2-point game at the break, but just offensively, they also, it's interesting, they couldn't get to the line in this game. 3 free throws for Hofstra. I think they might get to the line right now to like close this game out, but they played admirably here. It sets up a very fun Alabama-Texas Tech game. Very, very enjoyable here. Coach, I'm sure you were a big fan of what you saw at a Claxton and the boys here at a Hofstra, right? Just guy going back to the school and what it meant to this team.
Yeah, really, really cool moment. I don't know if you saw this, but a really legendary coach up there too, Joe Malarchuk, who also had taken, I think it was Niagara to the NCAA tournament, was the coach of Hofstra and COVID. For the last time they could have went to the tournament, they actually flew him out to be there for the game. So a really good moment for Hofstra. In regard to the way they battled, it kind of reminded me, Kev, a couple of years ago, at first, I want to say it was Alabama Robert Morris, where Bobby Moe kind of like was winning and hung around and hung around and hung around. And that's what you want to do, right? Like, and that's the only problem is the game is 40 minutes and not 34 minutes, right? You want to extend, we call it shorten the game, and they did it for a really long time. But shout out to Speedy Claxton, who's done an unbelievable job. I remember, folks, first time that they've been in the NCAA tournament officially since he played for a guy named Jay Wright at Hofstra.
Yeah, I'll be totally honest with you guys. I didn't even realize that. It's one of those things like, I was like, did I know that? Like that Jay Wright was at Hofstra? That's one of those things like maybe I know and then I forget kind of, but I saw they were mentioned on the broadcast. 90-70, your final score. Bama covers, and this game goes over the listed total, JY.
And one really quick about Jay Wright, if I'm not mistaken, I think they beat St. John's 2 years in a row. Hofstra beat St. John's, and with them getting NCAA tournament, that's what sprung him to get the Nova job. Because remember, Jay Wright was also a Massimino assistant at Nova.
Yeah. We are approaching a quick break here. We've got Tennessee, Miami of Ohio, a 51-32 halftime score. I think there is the potential for some in-game opportunities on this one. I think we could have ourselves a really, really good chance to get involved with this game. I'm curious what JY thinks. We'll find out on the other side on SportsGrid.
Plus sounds pretty good here, Donnie, at around even money, right? I got no problem there, trading at 54 cents. And again, all the pressure is on the higher seeds and the favorites, right? Start getting into that 4 or 5 minute mark in the second half, and you're down double digits. Some teams, it does not get better, Donnie. They don't pull themselves up off the court.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You don't usually get Alabama basketball booked at less than 160. You're getting that now here. The real question is Aiden Holloway done for the tournament for an Alabama team who, we've seen under Nate Oates, they're more than capable of getting themselves to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and maybe even beyond that.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I don't like to overthink it, Kevin. I really don't. And similar situation, I feel the same way when it comes to betting. I find like that Sunday night, so you're watching the NFL games, and all of us do it. Like, all right, let's look to next week now. You know what I mean? That Sunday, like, the dust is settled on the game. They just end, so I'm like, let's look at next week. My first reaction is always the best reaction.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
NBA Central sent out a tweet yesterday. Hornets announcer Eric Collins says Jalen Duren is one of his favorite players to watch. Quote, I like talking about that body of his, cut up like coleslaw, end quote. Interesting.
Yeah. Not quite sure what the reference to coleslaw is. No idea, Donnie. I have no idea.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're making a move here. We're making a move. JY talks about us sometimes just being in sync. He mentioned something before I could even mention basically the same thing to him. Coach, we're getting 21.5 to 22.5, depending where you look, on Miami of Ohio. I like it. I think they can cover this in-game number here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they just had a rough half, and sometimes you have to adjust to the style of play of what you're going to get. Now, if you look at Miami of Ohio, they shoot 4-14 from three. They have 9 turnovers, right, to 11 made field goals. At the end of the day, Kevin, you're not going to play that bad in regards to just giving up the basketball. And you look on the other side, you have a Tennessee team that's shooting 62% from the three-point line. So you start to add things up, right? Miami, Ohio, throwing the ball around the gym. Tennessee hitting everything in the gym. And now you get to halftime in a 19-point game, and all we're saying is play even. You play even basketball in the second half, and if you're winning or you're Rick Barnes, you may call the dogs off. You may not show certain things that you may have to show in a big matchup versus Virginia. You want to get out of here alive. You may call the dogs off a little bit early. So for me, a team like Miami of Ohio that shoot the ball really well, they're a team that's looking at it, the number 22 team in three-point shooting percentage in the country. They're not doing this the rest of the game. They're 28th in turnover percentage. So everything they did wrong, I think they just fix in the second half, and that's why I like them plus the points.
I'm on it. Let's do it. Miami of Ohio. Again, wherever I was going to bet the 21.5, I found a plus 22 at minus 114 on Bet Rivers. I believe JY got a 22.5 at Bet365. The 21.5s are good to go. I agree. I think Miami of Ohio live getting this many points is worth a look. Man, JY, there's so many different directions that you and I could go, whether it be yesterday, whether it be what's still to come on this slate. I kind of want to try and thread that needle a little bit, though, with you. Of course, we're going to do some of it tomorrow. There's one thing I really wanted to make sure that I asked you about, though, and it's St. John's, Northern Iowa, right? Because who knows? Miami, Ohio kicks back up, and then you and I are just kind of, right back to the end game. This is a game, Coach, that people have talked about since the second the brackets came out. They thought St. John's deserved better on the seed line. They've talked about how Northern Iowa matches up potentially a really slow, grinding defensive team. When you match these teams up in the 5-12, Coach, what do you see?
It's interesting. Us being local, we have the ability to hear a lot of what Rick Pitino's thoughts are. And he was with I think it's Nicky Alatarullo from SNY. And he compared them to Seton Hall. And I thought that was a really good analogy, but then it made me feel better about the game because now it's not like a completely foreign opponent that Rick is playing, right? In regards to style. They're going to slow the ball up. They're going to take their time. They're going to run their offense. And they're very, very rugged defensively, right? And if you think about what Northern Iowa is going to do, they can't win this game running the ball up the floor. They got to walk it up. They can't they can't win this game in the 80s. They got to win it in the 60s. I'm a little bit nervous about the point spread because you're either going to get one or two St. John's teams, a St. John's team that's tremendously pissed off, or a St. John's team that's going to press because they got to feel like they got to prove that they were better than the seed that they got. So that gives me the one way, and that's Northern Iowa's team total under 61.5. Either way, Pitino's going to lean on his defense. They're either going to be really angry and pissed off, right, to the point where they defend at a high level, or they struggle and they lean on the defense. either way, Northern Iowa has to play this way. This is that whole style make fights thing that I always talk about. Team total under 61.5 for Northern Iowa.
Okay, so a little look there towards the team total under from Coach. JY, I might as well, again, because we're going to get underway with that second half. Nova's up 10 right now. We'll do some previews. Was there a game result yesterday you really wanted to talk about? Something that you saw that maybe you're still thinking about here on this busy Friday, where it just either you were impressed or disappointed either direction here, Coach?
Honestly, Kevin, I have to say, I wrote about this today on my Substack. That North Carolina performance, the last 10 minutes, or 15 minutes if you count overtime, Kevin, was the most embarrassing performance by a high-profile blue blood team in a big spot. And it made me think, and I talked about this, there. I think I titled it, The Carolina Way or the Right Way. They need to get rid of Hubert Davis. And I feel like, Kevin, two things rang true to me as I watched, the SMU getting blown out and Duke struggling a little bit versus Seattle. Shout out to Jerry McIntyre. By the way, Syracuse, speaking of ACC, can y'all just give the guy a blank check and just call it a day? I don't even know why we haven't gotten that announcement as of yet. But to me, Kevin, number one, maybe the ACC isn't as good as we think as a league. They are not. And two, Caleb Wilson hid a lot of flaws in Hubert Davis. Why? He could go get you a bucket. He could put a team on his back. He could score. He could rebound the 3-point line. Kevin, he masked a lot of the mistakes that were Hubert Davis's. And when they were playing well after the injury, I was like, they're going to be all right. And then they get to the ACC tournament. And then they get to here. And you realize what needs to happen. There needs to be a coaching change in North Carolina. Forget about the Carolina way. It's done. Make a change.
You know, it's interesting, JY. I'm someone who had been hard on Hubert Davis in years past. I don't know if it's because I was on VCU in the game, so my expectations were lower, but Caleb Wilson was even better than I think the highest person on the year was. And when you lose someone like that, it's very hard to regroup. And I actually thought they regrouped in ACC play quite admirably. I thought at least, JY. But it's going to be very interesting to see, because I don't think he's going to be let go. I don't. What the roster looks like next year. You know, the one thing I'll add before we hit the commercial break, because you mentioned freshmen, one thing that will probably be lost a little bit yesterday, if not discussed by people who shouldn't be discussing the topic, AJ Dybonce's BYU career came to a close. Just immediately one of the best players that will ever put that jersey on, finishes as the country's leading scorer, leaves that game with 35 and 10. And I don't know how the lottery is going to fall. And we still haven't watched Darren play a game yet. But as we sit here right now, 3 months out, it's very hard for me to believe Dybonce is not the number one pick. That's where I'm at right now. It's
has to be.
Go ahead, JY.
Has to be. He has to be. Listen, and I want people to say, oh, he should have went to Duke. Don't give me that mess. If Richie Saunders is healthy with 19 points, 41% from three, they're a completely different team. Put some respect on Richie Saunders' name as well.
Yeah, I just don't. Like, what's next for Rob Wright? Where BYU finished to me is not some anti-Dybonce thing. It's just 6'9" guys who can run the point forward a little bit. Like, yeah, those guys usually go first. We'll be right back here on Tuesday. about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do it. In-game live, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young, JY. Let's put some picks on the board, all right? I want to know where you're going to be at here on this night's slate, JY. I know you're capping these games. I know you're betting these games. So I want to throw a game at you, actually, that I do not think we have talked about just yet on the show. It's one of your Big East brethren. It's UConn and it's Furman. Late night. I am sure Hurley has somehow turned that into a rallying cry. Can you believe they put us on at 10 o'clock? They would never put Duke on at 10 o'clock. They would never put, blank on at 10 o'clock type of thing here. UConn Furman at 10 o'clock, JY. What do you like in this one, man?
Yeah, I like Dan Hurley seemed to be in a bad mood. I right now, Kevin, I don't know if Dan Hurley has fed his team since the Big East Finals. And when you kind of look at it, right, and you kind of dig in, and like I said, I'm gonna go back, Kevin. Where am I going? Our trusted resource, right? Ken Palm. Furman has the ball, 203rd in offensive efficiency versus number 11, right? Turnovers, 200, I think, in 80th versus 97th, right? They don't offensive rebound the ball well. And then you go to the other side, UConn will offensive rebound. Their offense is top 30. I'm just going to say Dan Hurley will have a team in a bad mood. I'm going to just lay the points in the first half. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I think Dan's going to be pissed. They're going to be pissed. It's kind of like when the year that they won it when they were the 4 seed. They don't respect us. They don't think we're good. Right? You said right, Kevin. We're on late. We're not getting the 7 p.m. spot like St. John's is. Let's go out there and let's beat their what from pillar to post. Well, I don't know if they go pillar to post, but they go pillar to half. So I'll take UConn minus the points in the first half.
Same store, different aisle. UConn first half team total is what I bet in that game at 37.5. I believe it was at 37.5 minus 120. Yeah, I think UConn puts 40 up early. I think this team's going to be ready. I think there may be like some sneaky pace from them, JY. Just get going here, man. Like I'm tired of it. Let's smash this team. Taris Reed figures to have himself a pretty good performance, I would imagine, as well. What about another blue blood, JY? Kansas Cal Baptist, man. This Baptist team is one that I think a lot of people have kind of
they look out with a smile, right? Because they bring in a scoring guard, Dom Daniels Jr., over 23 game, top 5 in the country, and they can guard it. The Lancers can guard it a little bit here, Coach. So what are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing, a Kansas team that I don't, Kevin, they're so hard to cap, right? Because they could come out there and they could beat you by 50, or we could see Kansas down by 7 at the half. We really don't know what you're going to get. And I'm not even talking about Darren Peterson. I'm talking about Floyd Badunga. I'm talking about Trey White. I'm talking about Bill Self. I'm talking about the whole roster. They are, to me, the Forrest Gump of the NCAA tournament. They could go to an Elite Eight, or they can get picked off. I need to see how this game starts. If I'm Kansas, I try and lean on my defense, which is top 10 nationally in defensive efficiency. And I think you try and lean that way. So for me, team total under Cal Baptist first half. You try and lean on your defense so your offense gets going, and hope it does at some point, because Cal Baptist's defense is pretty good. So you're not going to be able to go run away from them, right, Kevin? So to me, you look at the team total under for Cal Baptist. Kansas leans on their defense and rebounding early on in the game.
Same store, different aisle. I just played a full under, 141.5. Yeah, Coach. Look, man, we're
but folks,
this
I
happens.
want to repeat this, we're being dead honest. I have not talked to Kevin all day. I have not, and I mean, he's one of my best friends. We talk all the time. We have, and by the way, 60 points and Luka Doncic. LeBron just missed one shot. Of course, usually we were talking about, we didn't have time to talk today, but we really do see basketball through the same lens. And what's good about what we do is we give you options of how to play games based on how we see it, right? Whether it's team total under or the overall under, we use the same metrics. Like I said, we look at the eye test. We look at Ken Palm. We look at how teams are playing lately. We aren't just guys that just go and be like, oh, you're 6-2-1 against the spread your last 9 games. No, that's not the way we do things. We really dive into almost like a coaching, scouting background. And Kevin isn't a coach, but he acts like a coach with how he caps games. So make sure you're paying attention to how we break things down, and not just take the bets and what we're trying to tell you, but how we get to what we get to. I think that's the biggest thing I always try to take away and give people when we're on the network together.
Yeah, I love basketball. I think it shines through in what we get the opportunity to do here. Nova, Utah State, man, this is a fun basketball game. Nova's up 4. This thing's high scoring right now. Tennessee, Miami of Ohio gets underway here in half number 2. It is we're going to call it 21.5 so we can root everybody in. A 21.5 number on Miami of Ohio as we look for them to hang here in the second half with the big bad SEC Tennessee Volunteers. I'm curious what Nate Ament brings to the table, if anything, kind of.
Honestly, Kevin, I hope nothing. Bring nothing to the table. Why? Nate Ament, do me a favor. Why don't you just sit this one out for the next 20 minutes? You know what I'm saying? We don't need you right now. Just sit down. Yeah. Jacoby Gillespie, calf injury, out. You know what I'm saying? Rick Barnes, you know what I'm saying? 2-3 zone, Princeton offense. Don't run it up, walk it up. I'm Joe Lisi right now. I'm being greedy. I need my bets to come in now. Okay? And Kevin and I are on the same side. So now we're going to be greedy. All right? I hope Tennessee doesn't hit a shot. I hope Tennessee doesn't hit a shot for 15 minutes. Give me St. John's UConn. Give me that. And I'll be really good about it.
Gosh. All of there was one St. John's UConn game that looked like basketball. The other two, I'm still trying to figure out what I was being subjected to. I'm still trying to figure out what in the world was going on in those games, man. That was yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break, man. Talk a little Iowa Clemson with Coach James Young on SportsGrid. Talk about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Okay, in-game live. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. Coach is here for about 5 more minutes, and that's going to be Gabe Morency. Coach and I will be live tomorrow morning. Recap everything we saw from day one, all of our breakdowns, everything from round 1, and then we will preview the round of 32, primarily focusing on Saturday. We don't want to get too lost in the shuffle there. But, Coach, kind of the last segment here, so we'll get some picks coming from you, but live right now, what are you focusing on a little bit more right now? A 20-point lead for UT or a 1-point lead for Villanova?
1-point lead for Villanova. Villanova is not deep, especially with the fact of Hodge being out. We talked about it. Malachi Palmer, and more importantly, Bryce Lindsey, both with 3 fouls. I told everybody that they have to play the game in the 60s, maybe 70. It's 58-57. 2 of the 5 starters have 3 fouls, including Bryce Lindsey. That is something I'm looking at. Bryce Lindsey picks up his 4th foul. By the time we get to the 10-minute mark, I may jump on Utah State to win because of the fact that they put so much more pressure, particularly on Lewis, who is, I think, only 2 of 8 from the floor so far and not playing well. So to me, that's a look at. If Bryce Lindsey picks up foul number 4, that could be a way to go the other way. Otherwise, if you can stay out of foul trouble, I like Villanova to steal it and steal it late.
Yeah, I am enjoying this one, man. It's back and forth right now. The pregame total is in a really good spot. Really, really good spot live right now. 162.5. Frustrating start for the Miami of Ohio bet, where defensively they're, getting there a little bit. Tennessee doesn't look great. But Miami of Ohio cannot lose focus offensively. Like, they have to – they look a little scared. Like, there was a fast break opportunity where a guy who had a direct line to the cup tried to be cute and pass it off, right? Like, that's not how you're going to win this basketball game. Got to be smart, got to be crisp. And they're not going to win this basketball game. But I think they have an opportunity to keep this thing inside 20. The threes are going to have to fall, though, Coach, right? It's probably – not more complicated than that. The threes are going to have to fall for this team.
Yeah, threes are going to have to fall, and they just knock one down and cut it down to 19. So I think that's the key. Listen, you give up 51 points in the first half, and if you're Miami High, you're like, okay, we have to tighten the screws defensively. So Krep's right. 4 points allowed in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So to me, that's a good sign that your team's digging in defensively. Now you just got to get points and put points to the forward, particularly shoot the ball from three. And like I said earlier, obviously, don't turn the ball over. You got to get the shot up to the board. You can't make shots if you turn the ball over. So you got to make sure you don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, that's a good point there, man. The importance of turnovers. There's going to be some great games tomorrow, JY, that I can't wait for you and I to have the opportunity to preview. But we've got a lot of good ones that are still coming here. Even if you don't have a pick in the game, I just want to mention games that you and I haven't talked about yet. Quick thought, and we can kind of boogie on to something maybe that you like here. UCLA, UCF, 7-10 matchup here in the East region. Bruins a 5.5-point favorite.
It's something. You say the word Bruins in East, that just makes Mick Cronin just lose his mind. I mean,
yeah,
they might as well move UCLA. Back in Jersey, we call it UCLA University, closest to the Lincroft area. Might as well move to New Jersey because they're basically here all the time. But to me, I like UCLA's team total over. I think they can score and score at will. UCF struggles to defend. Effective field goal percentage, 234. Turnovers, they don't force turnovers, 233. They don't guard the 2-point line. They don't block shots. They don't get steals. Look for team total over for UCLA tonight.
All right, so a little team total situation here in that game. JY, what about, I actually hand up a little bit. Florida Prairie View A&M is not a game I have capped yet. That is actually a game that I'm going to handle when I'm done for the night here. I'll have enough time to kind of lock in for a 116, but that was one of the later set games. A lot of my card was set here, Coach. 35.5-point number here. JY, though, big time for a Gators team who, look, not much to worry about, we assume, but, these games have been a little bit more competitive than everybody expects. We've seen that.
I haven't capped it much. I'm going to wait like you. This is one of these games where you're like, if you're up, you probably play a little bit. If you're down, don't go crazy trying to win it all back. So I'm going to kind of let this game play out, but Florida should handle business versus A&M. They should be really, Prairie View A&M should be really overmatched inside and out.
Yeah, I'm curious just how they line up some of the prop options there. Chinaloo and Condon should have ton of success. JY, you're the man. See you tomorrow morning. Gabriel Morency in the mix after the break on SportsGrid. About the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live, Kevin Walsh here, and there will be a portion of this hour where there will be not a lick of basketball on. Don't worry, that's why Gabriel Morency is here to help us through this window, just like we did yesterday, Gabe, where we got the opportunity to talk of that Michigan-Howard game a few times over. That ended up being a saving grace game for me a little bit, with not just the team total, but taking that team to score 100. That was a good one. How are you, my man?
We're ready to rock, Kevin. The madness continues. I think we had the best game of the tournament so far. Listen, Wisconsin and High Point was a good game, but considering, it kind of got good at the end of the basketball game. Santa Clara and Kentucky was a pure classic earlier in the day today. And we've got a really good one going on right now with Villanova and Utah State. Alabama got all they can handle from Hofstra in the first half. Things got physical late in the basketball game, but I think moving forward, the loss of Holloway could be a problem. And I think, Kevin, the story of the day today, put like bad beats, bets, and all that aside, and I do like the card tonight from a betting perspective, but Iowa State losing Jefferson is a massive, massive loss for that basketball team. And I'll tell you what, I never root for injury, and Michigan have their own injury problems. But with that being stated, Kevin, if you look at like the Midwest region, the second best player on Alabama just got busted dealing weed. Iowa State's second best player just got injured. I think he's going to be out. Like, obviously, he's going to be out right now. Things are starting to fall into place for Michigan. But I'll tell you what, I think the big shocker last night was St. Louis. I didn't see that coming. Didn't see one coming, and evidently neither did Mike White, the coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, who stood there, Kevin, and watched an 18-0 run before he called a timeout.
Yeah, apparently he was like, oh, sick, we're from the SEC. We don't have to worry about anything. And I think St. Louis is still scoring in that basketball game right now. Not to mention, Gabe, too, Texas Tech, no JT Toppin. So, there's a couple of elements. But look, Michigan, missing not a top guy, but Kaysen, the guard, I know you've mentioned a few times, key players. So not the healthiest region. But, Gabe, we were talking a little bit about it. I don't know if you've seen it yet. So if not, I'm curious what you think it will be, because I think it's come out now, of what a Kentucky-Iowa State spread will be under the idea that Joshua Jefferson will not be available.
So it's an interesting question, and I don't know the number yet. So without seeing it right now, I'm going to say Iowa State minus 3.
Close. And here's the thing, Gabe. It could close there. I see right now a 4.5 is what I see. Now,
okay, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Kentucky, just because of their brand name and pedigree, isn't getting a little bit more love. There's two ways of looking at it, Kevin. I mean, did they look good today? I thought Kentucky actually played pretty well today. It was, although really was Garrison that stepped up late and just saved the game for them, right, with the constant blocks. And St. Mary's really had it. Like, they really let it get away from them. Listen, Sendek tried to call the timeout. The referee didn't see it. So it's just one of those deals. It is what it is. But I think Kentucky can play with Iowa State, actually. I'll be interested in Kentucky as an underdog, Kevin.
Yeah, I actually, so you and I talked, Gabe, about Kentucky Santa Clara. And I think probably one of the reasons that you and I were probably impressed by Kentucky is I thought Santa Clara is a good basketball team. I thought they could win that game. I thought they were the right side at plus 3.5. Look, overtime, that's what happens, right? Foul game's not going to break your way. Santa Clara covered for most of that game. It's funny. I remember you saying, you're like, I was hoping we can get maybe 6.5, 7.5. Kentucky never led by more than 7, right? So right actually, on that number. But, Gabe, I think that number could collapse a little bit. I'm surprised to open 4.5 without the definitive, unless Gabe, because I don't know, maybe I've missed some updates that you've seen. Do we know for sure Jefferson's missing that game? Like, I know the team wouldn't put it out, but like, are the online doctors like, oh, he's cooked, don't think he's coming back?
No, there's been no official reports. There's been no official
Okay.
reports, and that's a good point because you know how the public is as well, right? They see, and people in sports books and at bars, oh, yeah, the Iowa State guy's out, right? And it's sort of a domino effect. I don't think it's really kicked in yet. And I don't think they want to overreact either, actually, Kevin, because look at Alabama, right? Alabama without Holloway, we're talking about 17, 18 points a game, man. It was taken out of their lineup today. And I heard that a lot being thrown into conversations about why Hofstra was going to cover. They didn't, right? Alabama took a little while to get going, but it was really just a byproduct of them missing shots, right? They were missing shots early. They were getting open threes, and they weren't falling. And they did clamp down defensively and just sort of overwhelmed Hofstra in the second half with their athleticism. But you don't want to overreact too much. But with that being stated, Kentucky's not Hofstra, right? I mean, Kentucky has talent. And Iowa State, the room for error isn't that big to begin with, right? So, like I said, I just threw this off the top of my head. You asked what I thought the number was going to be. So technically, I guess I'm getting value because I thought, 3.5 type of deal. So you tell me it was 4.5 right now. So I could almost argue, that's enough for me to bite, actually, with Kentucky, just for the record.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm again, and what's interesting is
they could have like a monkey off their back now too, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? With Kentucky, there's a lot of pressure on that team. Like, seriously.
Yes, there was.
Like, and if it wasn't brilliant, some would say, they played a West Coast Conference team. But like Kevin said, Santa Clara are a real team, right? This isn't, they're not Pepperdine. Like they're big, they're long, they can shoot. They had them, they could have won a game. Like they had Kentucky, right? And I was ready to talk smack. Hey, WCC, beat the SEC. How you like that? Right? And, so the games fall apart. But I think if you're Kentucky, you got to like the way you stuck together late in the game. And then in overtime, quite frankly, you kicked the crap out of them. You stepped up. You said, hey, we're Kentucky, you're not. And it looked like it. Garrison stepping up defensively. Like I said, Kevin, all that pressure on Pope, all that pressure on that team. They saw people talking all week about, they're going to lose. You guys are going to lose to Santa Clara. And they get it done. Like I said, they're almost playing like pressure-free ball now. They got the win, Kevin. Now, I know it's Kentucky, and one win isn't the standard there. But
yeah, but it's not Anthony Davis. It's not John Wall, right?
Exactly.
Like, just because.
But getting a tournament win and moving on here, you'll feel a little looser now as a team. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I think it's funny. Like I saw in the postgame, Jamal Mashburn, who went to Kentucky, he's like, I don't love that we have to settle for this, like being the standard. It's like, Jamal, I get that. It is it's a team who lost by like 50 to Gonzaga, who lost by 40 to Michigan. Like, you know what I mean?
Got that, Kevin. You're like this. I was when I was in Vegas, I had Larry Johnson on a radio show. I was stoked. It was Stacey Augman and Larry Johnson. And Larry Johnson had a few. It was Vegas, right? Like he had a few already in the day. And it was when Anthony Bennett was there, right? The top pick of the draft and all that. And Vegas wasn't like going to win a championship, but they were like 20-3 or something like that. And I said, said after all these years of UNLV struggling, it must be good to see them good again. And Larry Johnson, they ain't good again. Same thing, like the old school.
Yeah.
And I got real defensive about it too, Kevin. Like right away. He goes, you win in a mother effing championship, and he tell me they're good. And then he starts like turns it on me. And I love Larry Johnson. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like, it's my hero. I upset him. He looks at me and goes, you're telling me you think they're good? I'm like, dude, you're the UNLV guy here at a UNLV alumni party. I figured I'd put it on the tee for you and be nice. So then I start getting real. I go, well, no, not really. I don't think they're that good. I got a call right after. What the hell's wrong with you guys? It was too good.
That's great. You get the Larry Johnson interview. They're like, this is good. Like, hype up the program. And the both of you.
Ain't good. Who cares?
Yeah, they beat Santa Clara in the most exciting game. And he's like, whatever. Like, we're going to lose next round. It's like, all right, Jamal. Thanks, buddy. Great. Fantastic, man.
Your guys are hard asses.
talk about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So, but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night, Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. We got a couple of games to preview. We will do that just like we did yesterday. Gabe, I know you want to get to UCLA, UCF, but quickly, I just want to get your thoughts on the 2 games we've got out right now. Nova, Utah State, Tennessee, Miami of Ohio here. Any action that you might be rooting on? Anything that maybe is already kind of annoying you in these games? I bet Nate Ament, Gabe, to score 20. He's got 0 points. I don't know if he quit the team in the middle of the game. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but I do have Miami of Ohio in-game catching 22 points.
And I want to throw up while watching this team play.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like, not only are they missing their shots, they've literally thrown like 6 to 8 air balls, Kevin. Yeah. Like, it's not like it's painful, like, to watch. It's just like it's airball city. They're incredibly frustrated. They're overwhelmed. Tennessee are trolling them and just dunk it in their face now. They're falling apart. And, some teams, we talked about Texas and how I thought they can go on the run, and then I got cold feet about it. But some teams can bottle the emotion, and I think it's a little bit different, though, right? When you're a major program and stuff, it wasn't like Texas were popping champagne in the room after the game. You know what I mean? It was like, we got lucky we got in the tournament. You're Texas. It was like, all right, we're getting on our fancy private plane now, and we're going to Portland. Mm-hmm. And now it sort of gets real. I think Miami of Ohio thought they accomplished something, Kevin, by beating SMU. And you brought it up earlier in the week. Is winning, because like I said, is winning a playing game, an NCAA tournament win? Because they were like, Miami of Ohio got their first tournament win in, this many years the other day they were talking about. It's like, not really. I don't know. I don't know, Kevin. I almost feel like, it counts for Prairie View A&M and it counts for Howard, but it doesn't count for you, Texas. No, you don't get credit for the win. You and I talked about it. You didn't win a playoff series because you win the play-in tournament in the NBA. Unless you're Patrick Beverly, you think so.
Look at what it meant to Nebraska yesterday, Gabe, Bev.
Yeah,
but look what it meant. Look what it meant to Nebraska, right? Like they were a 4 seed, they beat a 13. Like, are you telling me that
the play-by-play guy, Kevin, the old guy? I don't know his guy's name, but there's a play-by-play guy, guys. He's been the radio voice of Nebraska literally for 43 years or something. He's been there forever. never seen him win in a tournament. Like, so that was cool for him. I thought the High Point kids were, I don't know if you saw that call. People like it. I don't know. I guess I'm a Grinch, you know. I don't want to be like because a student radio is supposed to be a homer call, I guess.
Yes.
Right? But it was over the top. They're just yelling, oh. It's like people loved it. I'm like, kid, that's your moment, kid. You could have had a nice signature call there, but you got caught up being a fan.
Hold on. So Gabe, let me give you my my personal experience, because we did the Iona radio, but it was for the women's side, right? No, it was the men's side. It was the men's side. It was the MAC championship game, so it was when they made it, right? And there was two of us, and one of us was the professional, and then there was me, right? So the professional guy had a written out thing, Gabe, like a whole script of what he would say if they won.
Yeah.
And then when
Iona
that
finally makes it back to the dance, and he had his whole spiel ready to go.
Kings of the MAC, because they once again.
Oh, and don't tell me you ruined it by yelling over him and freaking out.
I cut a wrestling promo. Are you kidding me? You think you can mess with Tim Cluse? This one's for the new roast. I gave him business. Now, Gabe, but that's a good, right? Like, that's a good Hall and Nash. The High Point video, one kid cut a promo. The other kid didn't even speak. He was trying to make eye contact with players and was just like,
he turns around to the fans. He's like, oh, he's like, you believe this? He's like looking like, I know. And you're right. The one kid was trying to do, and Cinderella he's had his spiel ready. And the other kid's like, oh, yeah.
He wasn't even talking.
People were like, oh, this is so awesome and stuff. I was like, okay. I don't know. I was like, I don't want to ruin the High Point kids moment, but like, I was like, you kind of stepped on everything, kid. Like, I was like, I thought they were like a pro. They were like, you stepped on the moment, man. You got to let the moment breathe, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I laid out to let the professional, read his script, and then I went nuts. And that's all. And then I went nuts. You know what I mean? But the one kid he's wearing, if you guys see the video, he's wearing the tan suit. The video ends with him looking onto the court like this. He's like flexing. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, does he I was like, is he like the stat guy? Like, does he just like feed this guy lines or something?
There's always the moments, right? The one shining moment video. We need some the montage. I thought they'll be part of the clip. So to speak, but true. I'm telling you, what's frustrating, Kevin, is I got the over of Miami of Ohio and Tennessee, and I didn't think that we know that Miami of Ohio can't stop anybody. So I was like, all right, Tennessee are going to score, and people don't think of Tennessee as like this big over team, but Tennessee are going to score kind of at will. But I didn't anticipate Miami of Ohio struggling to score as much as they are. I mean, even if they didn't lose, if they lose and they didn't cover, I didn't think they were, like to struggle like this. They're having a hard time cracking 50 here, Kevin, and this total is just a dead man walking, bro. 141.5 in game right now.
141.5, so we're at 117.
They're just not hitting the shots.
The problem is, are you going to get fouls, right? Like, I'm trying to think about, like, from an in-game sense of it, though. Like, is it worth a click? The problem is Tennessee's possessions are going to be awful to watch. They're going to take all 28 seconds. You know what I mean?
That's the problem. We're dealing with the Tennessee Volunteers with a 20-point lead. Yeah. They're not exactly playing fast break basketball now. That's a problem.
No. They're not trying to get up and down.
I'm so frustrated watching the game because it was like air ball.
Right.
And Tennessee, I was like, man, you got a kid open, throw it for a dunk. And they don't. It's like, he was open, right? It was like, no, we're going to walk it up the court and we're going to pass it around for 20 seconds. It's like, oh. God, this is frustrating to watch. If Miami of Ohio can hit a couple of threes on the way out, but there's still 5.5 left. They're down 21. You know what the problem is, Kevin? They never cracked the barrier, right? They went into the locker room down 20, and you figure, all right, they're going a little run. We got a little mojo and a little pop and spark to the points. And
make
the total.
It 14.
They've been stuck at 20. Like, what?
No.
It's like
the offense is so sloppy for them, too. They're shooting, but they're not trying. We'll update Nova Utah State next.
talk about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, Miami of Ohio
Yeah,
down
come on,
21.
Miami.
We're getting a flat game. I found a flat 22 at half.
The total's
So
138 and a half now. Why did you even bring it up, Kevin? Let's talk about what's coming up. Quit living in the past. Quit living. We talked about it next. Quit living in the
You ain't
past,
kidding.
man.
You're
God.
right. No, you're right.
51 points. Yeah, bravo, Miami. You cracked 51 at the 3-minute mark. They left in the game. Good for you. All right, here's another three, Kevin. There's another 3 ball for them. I'm hanging on hope. Can we cash the 12 on the way out, the plus 12? Just hit 3 threes on the way out here. Come on.
It's dead, Gabe. It's not dead. You know you want to believe. Wait, do you have anything in the Utah State Nova game at all? Anything there for you or no?
Yeah, it's a miracle. I'm actually on the Mormons here. I'm on Utah State. They're up 80-74 right now. It's a miracle I'm on the right side. But, yeah, I'm on Utah State. I got an in-game over here as well. I started clicking and chasing like all pro bettors do. Oh, God, 163 and a half. See, I need more points here, Kevin. Yes, that's what all pro bettors suggest.
Sign up for the Discord. Sign up for the Discord. I bet it again. You'll never believe. That's so good,
like
man.
All pro bettors. Like I said, because that's the rule.
That's great.
Never chase your losses. I'm like, yeah, screw you. Get out of my way. You know what I mean?
Gabe, do you know I tell people this story when they ask me about teasers and things? I go, I was doing this is back when you were living in New York, New Jersey. And I was like, what do you think about like a same game teaser? Like, do I take like the favorite down in the over? You go, someone smart told me never do that. Like, it's not worth it. You're not getting a lot of value. The show starts, you go, all right, I like the Patriots down at 2.5 and the over 39.5. I went, what just happened? What just happened? You go, yeah, it was good advice, but I don't listen to that. That's ridiculous. I'm betting this game. Don't be ridiculous. I gotta get involved here.
I do that all the time. I get into it with people. Like, I hate when like handicappers or some guys are smart too, but like, they're like, oh, no, you can't tease something over to the other side. And I'm like, who says that? Like, what, you? You know what I mean? And I'm like, and I get into it a lot with it. The other one's like, yeah, you never buy a half a point. It's like, yeah, well, you wouldn't say that 922 times this year by half a point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, I don't know, maybe by that point's not that crazy of an idea. I get, but I get the theories of it, right? Price matters and teasers and all that type of stuff. But I'm trying to stay positive here, Kevin. And, moving forward, going into tonight, I like the card. So we got a 20-point game here. They just can't get over the hump. Miami of Ohio, under 3 minutes. And, yeah, Utah State, Kevin, flexing right now, bro. They got 11 with under a minute left.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like missing free throws. That game's bad. So I will take the request here. I think you're right. Let's start to preview some of these games. Let's do Clemson, Iowa. This, I don't know. I got to hand up these close spreads. I look at it and I go, they're the better team. Short number, lay it, and they just get rolled up. Like Ohio State never was looked better than TCU. Georgia, St. Louis game, even like the VCU thing was like a miracle comeback. I'm on Iowa, Gabe. I think they are comfortably the better basketball team here than Clemson. I think the Big Ten is much better than the ACC, but I have to be honest with the people. These kind of games have given me my biggest issue so far this tournament, I feel.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is another 9-8 seed, and I don't like falling into this trap, Kevin, about, this seed beats that seed and stuff like that too much. But there's something to this, right? With this win right now, Utah State are a 9 versus an 8. It's now 20-10 the last 30 games. So, I don't want to go back to when Patrick Ewing and Ralph Sampson were playing, Kevin. You know what I mean? When I hear about stuff, like, all right, last 30 times, that's something. Like, that's not that long ago. That's basically 5 years of action. So, like, essentially the last 5 years, 6, 7 years, et cetera, 4, what would it be? 4, 7 times 8, et cetera. Yeah, whatever. 7 years of action, 20-10, Kevin. And look, Utah State is a 9. And what does it say now? You got Iowa, who is a 9 seed over the 8 seed here in Clemson. Iowa are now the 1.5-point favorite in this basketball game. We're coming up against the break, but we'll get into the reasoning. But let's just bring this up, guys. Sort of like Signetti when he went to Indiana and he brought half the team with from JMU. Iowa are a little influx of Drake guys that, by the way, knocked off Missouri last year in the NCAA tournament in the first game of the tournament. We have a coach that's been here and done it, and we got a player that's been here and done it.
We absolutely do. We'll be right back with more after the break on SportsGrid. About the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So, but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
You're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes, he's coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's see if Miami of Ohio can at least help out one of us, because I'm getting 22. They are down 22. Tennessee has no interest in even scoring, but Miami of Ohio, with all their starters out there, cannot score. To be fair, Tennessee has kept their starters out there as well. So, that is what it is. But you'd love to do something here for someone, Gabe. But we can move off of it. Any other thoughts on the Iowa game before we get over to the UCLA-UCF matchup?
Yes, as I was talking about, guys, this is a new thing in college sports, right? With the transfer portal being wide open as it is all the time. The coach leaves, he brings his best players with him, right? And then you sort of combine these two teams. Now, Iowa didn't end the season greatly, but if you guys notice, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, a classic example, you and I talked about it yesterday, Kevin, was the Billikens. Billikens stumbled down the stretch. Georgia was red hot down the stretch. How'd that work out last night? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you gotta throw it out the window. And I like experience with coaches and tournament pedigree with coaches. And Iowa coach Ben McCollum, guys, he's a good coach. He was the coach at Drake. And they knocked off Missouri in the opening round last year, the NCAA tournament, and that's why he got the Iowa job, essentially, right? I mean, when these small mid-major schools, the coaches are showcasing themselves, like, basically. Let's call it out for what it is. They're not, like, all happy they won for the kids on the team. They're all happy and calling the wife after them. We're gonna get a job at Villanova now, honey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to climb the ladder. He did. He got to Iowa. Now now he can win a game for Iowa here. But I just like the sort of the direction of both teams in a sense here. So we've got a kid that was on the Stritz kid that was on Drake. He scores 20 points a game in the Big Ten, so he's been good in the Big Ten as well. And Clemson guys are without their second leading scorer. All right, and the kid rebounds as well. Carter Welling is out with an injured knee. And it's not like they can get used to this. And in fact, this is their first game without him. He got hurt in the tournament. So now they're dealing with life without him. We saw it caught up to Alabama a little bit today. But to me, also as well, Kevin, the Big Ten, you look at Iowa, yeah, they might have lost, 7 of their last 10 games. Look at the teams that they played. The Big Ten is obviously better than the ACC is. To me, like I said, I just think, it's tough. It's one of these toss-up games, but I think the Big Ten team is the side here. Give me the Hawkeyes.
I agree. I'm betting it the same way. Like I said, I'm almost, this sometimes happens later in the tournament where you've kind of had that thought process and you've just been beaten down. Like, I thought Georgia was better. Like I said, I thought Ohio State was better. I think Iowa's better. I think they have the better coach. We'll see if it works out here. If Iowa does win, the Nines would sweep, which, you said the Nines have been really good. I don't know if the Nines have swept
20 and 10 now. Last 30, so that's right. We're on a 3-0 run, the Nines so far this year. For the record, Kevin, we're less than 3 minutes away from Prairie View A&M. Because of the point spread, I guess, doesn't stick out to us as much, but are you going to do anything with this game?
No, that game's later, Gabe. I think that game's later.
That's right. It's coming up still. Yeah, I got confused. You know what I saw? I just saw 2:51. It's 2 hours, 51. Yeah. I got a preview countdown here. I look up, I'm like, you know what? I'll be honest with you. That's the game I skipped over, though, too. Like all these games, I'm like, what the hell do you want me to do with this? Like, you know what I mean? Whatever. You want to lay the point. Well, I'm not taking the points for Prairie View. You got a prayer, actually, if you're doing it, but you're getting 35 and a half points. It's a ton of points. I'm going to pull the trigger on Iowa. And speaking of Iowa, it's going to be a busy night in the sports bars, Kevin, at the same time here, because this game is at the same time, essentially. You got Northern Iowa and Iowa. It's going to be competition.
What are you doing with the St. John's game, Northern Iowa? I know that you said you were pretty confident in the Johnnies. I'm on over 131.5. I think it's too low for a St. John's game. I really do. I know who Northern Iowa is. But St. John's is a fast team. Like the idea that they're just going to allow the Panthers to dictate tempo, I think is a little misguided here. So I'm zagging. I'm playing the over at 131.5.
This isn't a great Northern Iowa team either, guys. Right? And in past years, in past years, we've had really good Northern Iowa teams. This team finished 6th in their conference. They happened to get hot in the conference tournament. And so let's give them credit for it. But I think this is where the party comes to an end. I'm like you. I think the total is too light. And very similar. It took a little while to get there, Kevin, but Alabama were just too much. Their athleticism was just too much for Hofstra over a 40-minute game. And it'll be a similar situation here, right? St. John's are going to be on the free throw line all night long in this game. And as you stated, too, Pitino's not an idiot. Like, he knows, these guys from Northern Iowa are going to want to walk the ball up the court. Let's run right past them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're the better athletes. We're the whatever. Like, just press them, play defense, transition, dunk city, dunk lob city, rinse and repeat, right? And I don't like laying points either, Kevin. I did it with the Alabama game because I saw it the same way as this. But I'll lay the 10.5 here with St. John's. We're talking about a team, guys. They're 19-1 in their last 20 games. It's crazy to say that a team in New York City doesn't get media attention, but they don't. They don't. No one talks about them in the national basketball media, right? They just don't, Kevin. Like, St. John's aren't really on the radar, right? Like the Big East.
No, because Gabe, New York for college sports isn't really a thing. Syracuse doesn't count. We have football. It's embarrassing. Before Rick went to St. John's, it's not like there's some powerhouse. It's unacceptable.
It's funny, Kevin. My first Big East tournament that I went to, I was blown away at the lack of St. John fans there. And I actually was like,
better, but
I was around the St. John's section, and I said, "So where are all the fans?" He goes, "Yeah, that's about it." I said, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, well, we play at the Garden." He goes, "There's about 2,000 of us that come." Right, like the hardcores type thing. Like, there were more Seton Hall fans. There were a ton of Marquette tourists and stuff, right? Like, but I found that like kind of interesting and fascinating. Like, they don't like the Garden games. That's another thing, too. I know, like, it's a thing on TV, all the St. John's at the Garden, but people like the games better on campus, Kevin, right? The actual, hardcores. I know they're better now with Pitino, and you're right, Kevin. It's true, guys. Like, New York it's not a great college sports town at all. But at the same point in time, there's a ton of college fans there. But the local teams aren't popular.
They're all Duke fans or Notre Dame fans. They're all
Duke
fans
there's more
or Notre
Michigan
Dame
fans in Manhattan than Rutgers fans are. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, by
Kevin,
a lot.
The bar beside the Studio 34, John O'Sullivan's, it's a West Virginia bar.
Yeah.
You think, what do you mean you got a West Virginia bar across the street from Madison Square Garden? Like, it's kind of a weird random school. Like, you know what I mean? It's a West Virginia bar on Saturdays. It's packed, guys. Packed. Like, there's literally like 400 people on the street with West Virginia gear on. And on Sundays, it's a Vikings bar, a Minnesota Vikings bar. They don't put on anything else, Kevin. I swear to God, I went in there and I was like, listen, I've got money on the Giant game. Can you just put on the Giants? And I'm like, one TV. And the guy's like, nah, I got the owner will get mad. We have the Vikings on every screen.
That's
like, West
their
Virginia,
gimmicks.
the Vikings? He goes, bro, look at the place. He goes, look at the place. It's packed, right? And there's places dotted all over New York, Kevin. Like, it's a Michigan bar. It's a Pitt bar. It's a Notre Dame bar. You know what I mean?
It's a little frustrating, though, like how those places are. I was at a place just the other week. They're like kind of a Yankee thing. They had spring training on like every TV. I'm like, cut it out, dude. Like, cut it out,
they got defensive. Oh, we're a Yankee bar. It's like, come on, dude. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah,
put
it's like,
something
guys, like, really? Like, you have 90 televisions. There's no reason for the Yankees game to
I've
be
gotten
on this
into it
much.
here at a Seahawks bar. I was like, dude, like, you could put one, like, no, we can't. Budweiser will get mad. It's a spot. I was like, dude, you're killing me. I laughed. I was like, I can't just watch the Seahawks, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. We'll be right back on Sports. about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes, he's coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back in the mix here on a Friday night. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. Let's rip through some
Sorry,
of these
Kevin,
here.
let me bring something up to you here. Love, I don't know, like I'm assuming you don't have the same feed or game or whatever, but love what I just saw, bro. They just briefly showed Iowa warming up before the game. They were all like football, like sort of bumping each other and pushing. Like it was like a mosh pit. They're all laughing it up and like, I like the looseness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They were like clapping, pushing each other around jokingly and stuff. Like they had a thing, someone shoots and like sort of body checked after. And they're all like, yeah, I like it. It was just a little bit of life. You know what I'm saying? I like the.
Yeah.
And I brought it up, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? I love that fact that this guy is a guy. He knows the tournament, a positive type of coach, contagious. We're going to win. We're going to win, right? They beat Missouri at Drake. Now we got a Clemson team that, not like NC State. Yeah, sometimes Clemson look good, but they're inconsistent. And now they got a devastating blow. They just lost like 11 points and 7 boards or whatnot to a lineup that isn't the most explosive lineup to begin with. Speaking of low totals, how do you feel about that one? So you said you're going to go over with the St. John's game. Man, that's a low number with Clemson and Iowa, bro.
Yeah, I stayed away, though. They're both so slow that I'm almost using that to justify my St. John's Northern Iowa over even more. Like
people said that
both
about
Clemson and Iowa.
They don't play at a quick pace. They didn't go over, though. Nearly got there. That was frustrating.
Bama. They're playing Bama, though. Like Bama decides the tempo, like not Hofsch. Gabe, it's funny, man. Like with some of these totals, I feel like very few games have 2 halves of the same thing. Where
you're right.
Like I had the Arizona Long Island under earlier today. Now I had a better number than most people. I bet it earlier, but I was dead. The in-game total was about 165.
It was a sweat job.
You got there though, right? On like a 147.5, 148.5.
Yeah, it was sailing over, and then Long Island hit the wall.
Yeah.
It was like they drank too many Long Island iced teas in the second half, and they couldn't hit any shots anymore. And Arizona got the first 10 minutes were just like, you were on the under, so you must have liked it. Yeah, the first 10 minutes.
So I got a 151.5 earlier. Yep.
Arizona was mailing it in. They were missing shots. They didn't care. It was like, and then they sort of got a little bit of a wake-up call in the last 7-8 minutes. But, yeah, it was a strange second half. But you're right, Kevin. Like the Alabama-Hofstra game was slow to start, and then it nearly ended up
Yes.
getting over the total. There was another one earlier today. There's so many of these games.
Houston-Idaho last night, Gabe.
Yeah.
Remember Houston-Idaho last night? 48-24 in the first half. 53 points in the second half combined. That's
Well,
what
let me ask
Houston
you.
almost scored in the first half.
Who would have thought that Wright State, and did you think Wright State and Virginia are going to put up 155?
No,
I was
not
Wright
on
State
that
today,
total
Kevin.
at all.
Horizon, baby.
Good call.
This is where it
Good
pays
call.
off to be a degenerate through the year. I knew they were good enough to hang. I knew they were.
Yeah.
I knew they were good enough to hang. So, yeah, I agree with you though. St. John's and the over. You're on the over. I like the Johnnies. I'll lay the points, but I think the game goes over. And I'm curious. I'm fascinated by. We're talking about NIL money all the time and NIL transfers, etc. Donovan Dent, Kevin. So Donovan Dent, of course, was with the New Mexico Lobos. Played well in this NCAA tournament before. He got big money from UCLA. Like, it doesn't get talked about much because people don't talk about UCLA, but he got like 2.4, I believe, like 2.5, like for 1 year. You know what I mean? Like he got a serious chunk of money, and he kind of underachieved, but he wasn't lighting it up earlier in the year, right? It doesn't help having a psycho coach like Cronin, but he's caught fire now, Kevin. The last 6, 7, 8 games type deal. The last like 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
Now, he got a little beat up last week. I think it was his hammy, whatever. But Cronin says they're good to go. They're good to go, right? So UCLA are cleared. The injuries aren't a problem. But over the last, like I said, guys, if you don't realize this, over the last 8 games, UCLA have the second most efficient offense in college basketball. Just taking an 8-game, right? So just the last 8 games, they have been playing well. They're 6-2. The thing with UCLA, guys, is they don't know how to travel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they get lit the F up every time they go to the East Coast, Midwest, and they complain and Cronin bitches about the travel. And once again, I guess this game, they have to travel for this game. But they've had a week to do it, right? They've had a week to do it, Kevin. So I think my point is Donovan Dent, 14.5 for you player prop guys out there. Donovan Dent, over 14.5 points. I think Dent comes through tonight with a big game for the Bruins.
I think it's a really good look. I'm not on the other side. I took a UCLA team total under, where I'm kind of hoping it's all the others. Like, if you match them, UCF can't guard anybody, right? But you add the travel in, the kid Bilodeau's injured, maybe Dent's not 110%. And this is a UCLA team that doesn't run. So if they can play it to their pace a little bit more, we can get ourselves a game that hopefully stops them from getting to 80. That's what I'm looking for here in this game. So it's not a direct fade of the Bruins, but some of that stuff got off of them. Gabe, this Purdue-Queens game, this is going to get the big screen here. Maybe I'll be wrong. That's fine. I think Queens is live. I'm taking them plus the 25.5. All Queens does is shoot threes. That's all they do. And Purdue's defensive strategy is to protect the paint and let you shoot threes. And we've seen it with these upsets. When you let a team get hot from deep, things can get hairy quick. And Purdue's going to score. They're going to score inside, Gabe, anytime they want. Kaufman, Wren, Clough, those props are all good. But three's worth more than 2. It's a 25.5 point number. I'm more so focused on that, obviously, than an outright upset here. But I really, really like Queens here in the 215.
Yeah, it's funny. The center on Purdue was asked, "What do you know about Queens?" He goes, "I know it's in New York. It's actually not."
I like
That's
that
the
kid.
best part.
I like that
It's
kid.
actually not. It's in North Carolina. The Queens Royals. I tell you what, anyone that's been following us knows, Kevin, I bet this team a lot. Queens, 21-11 to the over. Let's put in context when Queens played real teams this year. Wake Forest, 111 on them. Arkansas hung 108 on them. Auburn dropped 106 on them. This game's going to be a trap meet.
Yeah. Purdue should score 100. I still like Queens. Be right back. Talk about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So, but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and in the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're going to want to lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Stop the game. Stop the game. 3-0 Iowa. Stop the game, please. Like, I just can't. All right, we're going through some of these games here, Gabe. I have a feeling you've kind of been teeing this up, I feel, throughout the week. I think this is one of your favorite dogs, maybe your favorite of the round of 64. Kansas, your boys, the Lancers, Cal Baptist. Are you on Cal Baptist here, plus the 14 and a hook?
It's funny you bring this up because I'm torn, Kevin. I'm a Michigan fan, but I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Kansas Jayhawks over the years as well.
Really?
I've had Bill Self on the program as well a couple of times. Yeah. So, and I should say, too, it's just one of those teams I always bet on, and they always cost me. But I just bring this up because I've watched Cal Baptist. Now, let's just wrap up the Queens game, though, because we were going into the break.
Yeah.
So, this team, guys, they get after it, like just point blank, right? It's a bad game for them if they're not getting into the 90s. They're going to shoot. They're not going to change their style of pace, of style. They're not going to say, let's play different against Purdue. No, they're going to try to get Purdue in a track meet, but Purdue can score. Purdue an offensive juggernaut as well. And I think Purdue are going to, they're going to trade baskets, and they're going to get more baskets than Queens will. You're going to roll the dice and say Queens can hang around. Let's take a look at the first half number here in a second, Kevin. But as far as the total is concerned, as I brought up, dude, all right, when they play in their conference, 99-93, 90-83, 84-79, 96-79, like you get the, 91-84. They get into the 170s routinely. They're one of the best over teams in the country at 21-11 to the over on the season. But, all right, let's see what happened when they played real teams, right, as I brought up. And they played the Virginia Cavaliers. They lost 94-69. So they gave up 94. Arkansas, 108. Auburn, 106. So you get the pattern here that when they played real teams, they get in, into that 100 range. What's the official total now? 162? 160. What's the total here? It's come down, Kevin. It's 159. My bad. Because so many numbers in my head here.
Every game that looks like it's going over, it's about 3-4 points lighter than it's supposed to.
I know. They always start off slow, and then they get there. Like, you jump in, and like, okay, it'll still get there. I did that with the Kentucky game, the Santa Clara game. That was the one. Total was 157 today. went over one. I went over 142.5 in game and at halftime and ended up getting there. But yeah, I like the over a lot in this game. Kevin said 25.5 is a lot. It's a lot of points. So I don't. One thing. I don't think their will get broken, Kevin. Like if they're down by 15, 20. I think just for 40 minutes, these kids are going to chuck threes and whatever happens, happens. And Purdue, we've seen before Purdue, that little tightness, like Virginia today against Wright State, the pedigree again, right, Kevin? And Virginia being tight in the first game. And Wright State was in that game, guys. Don't fool yourself with that final score. It was like a tie game with like 5 minutes left. And Virginia scored like, they went on an 8-row run or whatnot. But you know what, Kim? I'm thinking about it. I can live with it. I wouldn't land at 25.5. But I love the over 159 here, guys. We're getting there. This game is getting there. This is the one. Clean ride. It effing gets there.
It should. Look, it should. It really, really should. I'm just more focused on Queens of it, kind of. That's kind of the situation I'm in. But
see, I'm more
again,
I like the oversight.
I totally, Gabe, like in the little like notes I wrote to myself, I'm like, Purdue might score at every possession. Like I'm more than aware of what Queens is up against.
So you're
here,
betting on a team conceding that the other team is going to score at will.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. But it's the tournament. Things get crazy. Here's the one thing, Gabe, I wouldn't be surprised if it bothers you as someone who's on the over. The Purdue possessions, they're all going to end in points. They're all going to take longer than they need to. It's going to be screen, pass.
Yeah, you need them to finish it off.
Dump inside.
You need them to be efficient.
Yes.
When teams milk the shot clock, you need them to finish. It's okay if they milk the shot clock if they hit the shot at the end. That was a problem with Tennessee. They milk the shot clock, but they don't hit the shot all the time. So it's hard.
Right.
That's how that game didn't get there. But, we're almost against it, actually. I was going to say, the Cal Baptist. I'm worried about it, Kevin, with the Cal Baptist. I think they're going to hang around, but when push comes to shove, I'm going to say the Cal Baptist covers the number. This Dominic Davis kid's a lot of fun to watch, guys. They're playing this game in San Diego. Cal Baptist, all the kids are from Los Angeles. It's the de facto, somewhat, home game for them. If they can just hang around, the crowd will really get into it, pulling for the underdog in that game. So, you know what I like, guys. Let's get it done, Kevin.
Yeah, at Sports Rage, I think Kevin Walsh and Game Live. We'll see you this weekend. About the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So, but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then a 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Lean on Kenneth Walker, especially early in the season, because Patrick Mahomes is coming off that torn ACL. Adding a high-end, proven running back next to him just gives him a little bit of time to say, hey, we're going to be run heavy early in the season as Mahomes kind of gets back up to speed, tests out that knee, and feels fully comfortable there. So I think Walker ends up being a big-time fantasy asset.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
You can put your skill and your luck to work on Kalshi. Why? They're offering $1 billion here. If you can pick the perfect bracket, sounds easy, Joe. Just pick the perfect bracket, get $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the odds of actually doing that, Donnie, are about the same if you're expecting to hit the Powerball lottery 6 times in a year.
Prediction Markets Edge,